Welcome to DRGLT Economics. Today I want to cover a sensitive topic in a light-hearted way by asking a hypothetical question. Suppose the Soviet Union still existed and the Cold War was still going on. Would the KGB be helping Biden in his re-election efforts? I think the answer would be yes. And that is because the Biden administration appears to have been promoting the interests of America's strategic foes continually. I've indeed identified 8 areas where this has been so. Now, before I delve into these 8 areas, I want to make a disclaimer. In no way am I suggesting that this hypothetical scenario is real. And of course, I'm not trying to explain the intent or the intentions of Biden or anyone in his administration, even though I want to talk about some of the impacts, the results, because sometimes it really does not matter what the people's intentions are. It is the outcome that matters. Having said that, let's start with the first area where the Biden administration has been promoting the interest, in this hypothetical scenario at least, of the Soviets, and that is social. Instead of focusing on social mobility issues, homelessness, drug abuse, and other issues that matter to American people, the Biden administration is razor sharp in its focus on issues that divide Americans, notably the gender issues. Now, I fail to see any benefit that comes from this. I'm not even sure that the Democratic Party could benefit from it. But I think the only thing the only result from it is that the society becomes more divided, and maybe it's easier to control for some people, but at least for the Soviets, in this hypothetical scenario, they will be very glad because the social cohesion, the foundation of a society, is weakened. That's good for America's strategic foes. The second area is demographic. I would think that for a country like the United States, the best immigration policy is one that encourages legal immigration of bright, skilled, and motivated people, and welcome them into the workforce. Rather than doing that, the Biden administration does the opposite. It makes it very difficult for skilled workers to come legally, but at the same time, it has a semi-open border in the South that invites undocumented people, migrants, in. The result is threefold. One, it makes it difficult for innovative companies to find qualified workforce. Second, it puts a constant pressure on the working class, American working class, because they face constant competition, direct competition from these newly arrived undocumented immigrants. And thirdly, it creates an underclass that have unknown or perhaps a legal status that is purely disadvantaging them, and semi-permanently so. By doing this, I think it actually creates a demographic problem, even though the workforce, the size in whole is expanding. There is a lot of misalignment in the labor force, and it's disastrous for, again, economic growth in America. Thirdly, the Biden administration seems to be one step ahead of every previous administrations in the U.S. in tightening the bond between big corporations and the state. Of course, a lot of people would say that this bond between big corporations and the state is a symbol of the final stage, of the last evolutionary stage of capitalism. And the Soviets probably would say that, and they would point out that this is end stage imperialism or fascism. But I don't want to necessarily go so far into that, but I just want to point out some of the facts of this. The fact is that it creates actually two classes in the economy. There are these big corporations who have immunity, who can essentially do immoral and unethical things inside America and outside globally, without any repercussion, without having to face any repercussion. They are protected legally. But at the same time, there are the system makes it very difficult for small, medium-sized companies and entrepreneurs to rise up. That, of course, is not good for the economy, and I think it's not good for anyone except perhaps the few grifters. I want to end there. All right. The fourth area is financially. The Biden administration is also bankrupting America by abusing the level of debt, by being irresponsible by being an irresponsible guardian of the US dollar, by abusing its power, not only in sanctions, which of course most recent American presidents have been, but also in seizing directly the assets of a sovereign nation, its foe, of course. This undermines the credibility of America. It undermines the credibility of America's finances and of the U.S. dollar. Overall, I think the outcome of these great efforts by Biden will be. It's almost irreversible because trust is lost and it's not easily gained. In that sense, it really is promoting this administration. It's really promoting the interests of the Soviets in this hypothetical scenario. Fifth, the Biden administration is quite highly militaristic. And also from the entire history of Biden as a politician, he has never found a war that he doesn't like, and but at the same time he does not seem to be a very competent manager or competent leader in terms of military strategy or even military tactics. He is capable of finding the worst way, for example, of pulling out of Afghanistan. He is responsible, I think, for the deteriorating scenario in Ukraine. Now, of course, there are people who say that, and perhaps with some reason, that the Ukrainian affair is not really a loss for America. It is a loss for Ukraine. It is certainly a loss for Europe, but not necessarily for America. And I kind of agree with this, actually, because America is able, with this Ukrainian situation, to semi-permanently separate Russia from Europe, the European Union, and thereby preventing this the formation of a new strong geopolitical competitor, foe even, a peer competitor. So I think in that sense, maybe there are some strategic reasoning behind it. But at the same time, of course, militarily at least, it's not doing very well for America's image. And also, the Biden administration has been busy in Middle East. All these together does not shed some very beautiful light on the American military. Rather, it projects some sort of shadow. It casts doubt on the strength of American military might. I still think that America's military is perhaps the strongest in the world, but the Biden administration has been undermining that belief, and a lot of people in the world no longer see it that way, and that, of course, is weakening of the deterrence and makes it more likely, and perhaps that is exactly what Biden wants, more likely for America to be physically engaged in wars. Or perhaps that's exactly what he wants. But at the same time, it promotes the interests of the Soviets in this hypothetical scenario. The sixth area, is that of PR, influence, propaganda, or even credibility, image. Let's call it image. For decades, the Americans are very good at public relations. It has been promoting itself as the beacon, right? The lighthouse on the hill, or whatever it's called. That's it's actually a beacon for freedom. But in reality, it seems like the Biden administration wants to peel off the final sheet of wallpaper on this American image. He wants to affirm to the world, especially those in the South, but also I think in Europe, that America only cares about its own interests. And in fact, I take that back. America only cares about America as a country, as an institution, is only concerned about the interests of the few people who control this machine. I think this is also where I kind of disagree with a lot of these realists, because one of the fundamental beliefs of realism is that countries move to serve their own interests, but I think the countries or decisions are made by national leaders to serve their own interests, not the interests of the nation necessarily. Of course, sometimes the interests of the country and the interests of the leaders are aligned. It's not always the case. And by destroying the image further, I think the Biden administration is also serving the interests of the Soviets. It makes the Soviets in this hypothetical scenario look much more compelling, much more attractive an option for especially people in the global South to cooperate with. One thing I forgot to mention is the current court case in the International Court of Justice in The Hague. I have quite some doubt on the possible outcome of this case. I think there is no good outcome for America, especially given the situation that the Biden administration has put America in, because if America wins this case, essentially it's America, right? If America wins this case, it will destroy another piece of the international institutions that it itself helped to build, because people around the world, especially in the South, but also in Europe, are very clear. They see the evidence. They know what the truth is. They can make their own judgments. The formalities of a court is rather to confirm what people already know, or to discredit itself. that is a very difficult situation in terms of image for the Biden administration. Seventh, there is also the political area, political reasons. We see that the election is coming. We see that the Biden administration has been has been maneuvering in disqualifying its main rival from even being on the ballot. This sort of actions is only is only supposed to be found in authoritarian regimes, and this is a final blow even in the remnants in the what is left of the integrity, of the credibility of American democracy. When he started doing this, and we see that a lot of cases have been piling up, there is no doubt, I think, in most people's mind, that democracy in America is completely a farce. It's burlesque, and not in a good way. And this again hugely undermines the interests of America, because it can no longer present itself, at least convincingly, around the world, that it's a democracy. It is not a democracy. It's just another authoritarian regime, and that again undermines the interests of America. And of course, the Soviets would say that the next time in this hypothetical scenario, America points to the Soviet Union, says that you don't have democracy. The Soviet Union would laugh at it and say that neither have you. And finally, this last point is Biden's and the Democrats' obsession with Russia. They can't. In this hypothetical scenario, it would be the Soviets, right? They can't stop talking about the Soviets. The Soviets are so mighty. They're so dangerous. I think the image of the Soviets are elevated by this. And of course, I don't know exactly why they want to talk about this so much, the Soviets, all the time. Is it because that they want to say they think that a lot of Americans still believe that the Soviets helped Trump in his election victory of almost 7 years ago? Or is it because that they themselves actually are working for the Soviets, and they accuse others of being working for the Soviets just so that the people's attention are diverted away from this fact? Of course, this is highly hypothetical. I know that this is not to be the case, because the Soviet Union does not exist anymore. How can Biden be working for the Soviets? Obviously not. But that does not change the fact that anyone who has been a strong strategic foe of America's, just like the Soviet Union, will be laughing today, because the Biden administration has been doing a spectacular job. And if anyone has been worked against Trump to support Biden in the 2020 election, I think their investments have paid off immensely. All right, I think perhaps this is not necessarily the most coherent or the best recording there is, but I hope that this is entertaining enough for my listeners. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great day.